Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Let's Play. Today we're taking a look at the Battletech Beginner box set. This wonderful entry into the Battletech universe is available from a ton of locations. I think you can actually get it at Barnes & Noble in the US. It only runs about 20 bucks. You get 2 battle mechs in it, a paper gaming mat to play on, as well as some cardboard cutouts for expanding your fortresses, some quick start rules, guide to the background of the universe, and some really nice color battle mech record sheets for trying out the game. So this Let's Play is going to be in 2 parts. I'm going to do 2 Let's Plays for Battletech. This one is just for the beginner box to kind of show the approachability of it, and then I'm going to do a second Battletech Let's Play for the Game of Armored Combat box, which comes with 8 miniatures and allows you to play more of a lance-on-lance game. So this is going to be about the core mechanics of the game, playing on a hex mat. You can play it 3D as well, which we'll get to when we talked about Game of Armored Combat, but the people have a variety of opinions on that, and there's a real simple beauty to playing on the hexes actually, and that's why this is going to be coming out on a Thursday. This is kind of the old school classic way of playing Battletech. In the 30 plus years that it's been around, the rules haven't shifted a whole bunch. And this beginner box is a great way of kind of introducing some of the more crunchy rules that you'll see in the Game of Armored Combat in a nice one-on-one duel between 2 different mech warriors, one from the Grey Death Legion and one from the Taurian Concordat, which is a periphery system. So some mercenaries fighting some Taurian Guard. I painted up some miniatures here, and we're going to give this quick start rule set a go. So for those of you who are Battletech fans, there is going to be a more advanced game coming, but this is more for introducing people to the core mechanics of the game and how it works. If you watch the Let's Play for Alpha Strike, it's not going to be too different except for the record keeping and a few odds and ends as far as just the hex movement and terrain and stuff. I have added some stuff just to enhance kind of your viewer experience instead of using the paper gaming mat, although I will show it off. I've gone and picked up one of the neoprene gaming mats because it's just a bit prettier, and I've made some terrain to kind of spruce it up. You don't need it, but it's video. I want to show some cool looking stuff. So let's go through the box contents, show you the miniatures, and get this underway. So here is the Battletech Beginner box. This guy right here comes with pretty much everything you see before you, apart from the terrain that I've added. So you get some really nice cardboard additional forces, so you can actually take yourself to a lance-on-lance size game, as well as the record sheets for them. Now, normally the normal record sheets for a Game of Armored Combat are kind of just photocopyable papers, but you get these lovely full color rather, dry erasable record sheets that have all the info you need. So you've got all your weapon info on here, and they're a smaller scale. They're like a note card scale, which is really handy for placing them on the table so you're not flipping through individual sheets. Hard plastic terrain as well, so if you want to add terrain to the paper mat, which you can see right here because I didn't want to show it off. So there it is all laid out. And you can see the neoprene mat, which is underneath, is actually 2 of these mats together. So if you play with multiple paper mats, you can make this size of mat, and it's conveniently sized so that it's basically the standard game size, which is 2 paper mats put together to make the amount of hexes that you would normally play an engagement on. You get these 2 little guys. So you get a Griffin on the left there, and a Wolverine. And both of these are kind of lighter cavalry style mechs. They have a fairly good movement rate. Their tonnage is both in the tonnage is, it's almost points. There's battle value as well as tonnage. But the tonnage on these guys is relatively similar. I think it's in the 1,500 tons range. So 55 ton range? Sorry, 1,500 tons. The game was 100 ton. I was thinking of battle value. They're in the 55 ton range, which is a mid-sized mech. And if you haven't really familiarized yourself with the Mech Warrior universe, the Battletech universe, that's covered as well. You get an instant guide to the Inner Sphere. It's a science fiction space opera set in the factional, militarized universe of the 31st century. Humanity has spread to the stars and spawned titanic interstellar empires, each controlling hundreds of worlds across a combined region of space stretching more than 1,000 light years. Following the rise of 6 great noble houses, a mighty Star League was forged, heralding a golden age of prosperity. However, treachery undermined the Star League and led to the murder of the first Lord of the Fall and the fall of House Cameron, which was basically in charge. The rulers of the remaining 5 houses proclaimed themselves the new First Lord of the crumbling Star League, and thus began the Succession Wars. For 12 generations, armies of battle mechs have clashed across 2,000 colonized planets of the Inner Sphere, visiting such destruction on humanity's technological capabilities that old scavenged mechs often outperform newly built models. The year is 3025, and the scars of the Third Succession War remain a fresh memory across the entire Inner Sphere. All 5 houses have paused their military campaigns in hopes of rebuilding their armies and rediscovering part of their lost technological base. Whether wet behind the ears recruits or grizzled veterans, mercenaries are the wild card that can tip the balance in power. These mech warriors run the razor's edge between legend and destruction and possess the necessary skills and the right amount of luck to snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat. This is Battletech. You can see some classic, like 90s style art here as well. I love that they kept the art style. That really makes me happy. Some people have said, like, why isn't the art updated? I feel like you couldn't capture sort of the way Battletech is without the art. The art is very much of its time, and this is sort of the map of the Inner Sphere. There's some major houses, and these are the houses that basically like control the human space, and then there's the periphery, which is kind of this stuff on the edge here. House Steiner, which is what I painted my Donegal Guards as, if you've seen my Blue Mech Warriors. Comstar, which is actually, they're kind of like the tech priests of Mars, or the like the navigators in Dune. They control the interstellar communication system that basically runs all of human space, and without them, everybody else is screwed. You got House Merrick, the Free Worlds League, House Lao, the Capellan Confederacy, House Davian, the Federated Sons, and House Karita, which is the Draconis Combine. And all these houses are basically always at war. And then you got Battle Mechs and Mech Warriors. So Battle Mech always refers to the machine itself, and then Mech Warrior refers to the person piloting it. And these huge machines are basically what people fight with in the 31st century. You also get a little guide to Ironwood metals. They make all the metal miniatures. The plastic miniatures that come in here, though, are really nice and very modern. But if you're looking for additional forces and also things like tanks and aerospace units, Ironwood Metals has you covered. And then last but not least, you get a cool little novella. You get The Golden Rule, a Colby's Commando's Mission by William H. Keith. And this is just a little bit of like taster of what the world is like, and then some more like information about the mechs and stuff themselves. And then you get your beginner rules, your quick start rules. So a nice, like, I mean, for the price tag, for like the $20 that I think you're spending in the US on this, I'm going to say American prices just because that's a handy touchdown for everybody. You get a decent amount of stuff. Like this is a pretty decent amount of stuff to play a game with, and this is truly a kitchen table size game. This is a very like space friendly war game. If you're looking for something that you want to just play pickup, and there's no initial. The reason I want to show the beginner box off is there's no initial sit down and fill things out like crunch to making your armies in this. You just pick roughly, there's a scenario in here to play. You can use the cardboard cutouts and pick roughly the same tonnage, and then just go to town and start playing. To say that there isn't a bunch of rules for doing that. You can design experimental mechs, you can do all kinds of like tinkering if you want, different loadouts and stuff, and every mech has like a variety of different types. So this is like the Griffin 1N. There's other classes and models of Griffin with different loadouts. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the Wolverine here, or maybe it was I was reading the tech description for the Thunderbolt, has like a bunch of different like descriptions of the ways it's been equipped over the years that change it. And actually these guys have a factory, the Taurian Concordat have a factory of Thunderbolts that are equipped like very much as like their main line mech that they fight with. So let's go through the rules real fast. The game happens in 3 phases, and what's nice is everything you learn through here upscales into a game of armored combat. So nothing that's in this isn't true later on, just more rules get layered in. So things like that we're not going to track in these rules are things like heat, I think actually there's a list of them. Yeah, your piloting skill. So like if you get hit in the hip and stuff, like there's certain locations that if you get hit in them, you have to make a piloting check and you can get like knocked over and knocked prone and stuff. Your critical hits. So under each mech's armored hide is a network of fragile parts. So like if you get hit critically, bad things can happen to you. And there's all of your like systems and stuff to manage as well. Heat. So you build up heat by running, jumping, using your jump jets, firing certain weapons, and then additional terrain types and stuff. Different ways of firing arcs. You can actually twist your torso. So in this, your firing arc is basically your front arc along the hex lines, so like a big V. When you torso twist, your mech maintains the same facing, but your guns twist a different direction, and then it resets at the end of the turn. So basically, it acknowledges the fact that these guys hinge at the torso, and they can pivot to fire, which is kind of cool. And then attack direction, you get attacked in the side and the rear. Different things can happen. Different weapons and equipment for your mechs, and then tons and tons of more stuff. But we're not going to concern ourselves with that for the beginner game. It's just going to be shooting, moving, and fighting. Crack it open and get going. I'm going to put the paper mat to one side here. I'm going to put some additional other items to one side as well. I'm going to have these 6 dice, which the game recommends I add as movement dice. And then these 2 little dice for tracking my ammunition expenditure as well. The game does come with 2 big D6s for rolling your attack rolls, but this stuff will just be handy for visualizing what's going on in the game according to the rules. So, quick start. These quick start rules will hurtle you onto the battlefield of the 31st century in minutes. Simply read through the rules, then set up the game as shown on scenario on page 9. So, sequence of play. 3 phases. Initiative phase, movement phase, and weapon attack phase. Initiative phase is really simple. Both players roll 2d6. Whoever rolls highest wins the roll. But in this game, you actually go first if you are losing the initiative. The idea being that because everything's applied at the end of the turn, seeing what your opponent has accomplished gives you the advantage. So roll 2d6 for the Great Death Legion, and then for the Touring Concordat for the Griffin, so they win. Now that means that for the initial setup roll for initiative, he'll have to place first. We'll make him the attacker. I can set up anywhere in the scenario along the front 3 hexes of the edge, so within 3 hexes of the table edge. So we'll go over here. Griffin, the Touring Concordat guy, gets to set up second, and he'll set up behind the, actually facing this way, behind that hill. That was just our setup roll. So now the actual initiative phase, we're going to roll to see who's actually going to act first. And the person that loses this roll will actually act first in the movement phase. So we'll roll for Mr. Concordat because he won the last one. 6, and then 7 for the Great Death Legionnaire. He gets to go first. So, movement modes. Everybody has 3 different movement modes. You can stand still, you can walk, run, or jump. So standing still obviously isn't movement, but then everyone in their stat card has a walking hex movement, a running hex movement, and a jumping hex movement. Now each of these has an associated penalty. So if I walk, my opponent is +1 to hit me, but I'm also +1 to hit them. If I run, +2, and if I jump, +3. And it cuts both ways. So if one guy jumps, he's at +3 to shoot, because it's harder to shoot when you're in the air. And his opponent's also +3 to hit him. Now, this is a real simple way of tracking it, and that means that we'll be able to see what's going on. So we're going to start because he lost the roll in the movement phase. And they're exactly the same, these two, basically, in their maneuverability. They both walk 5 hexes. They will jump or run 8 and then jump 5. But jump ignores all the terrain. So if I decide to jump, I don't have to take any of the movement penalties for moving through this stuff. And the hex actually tells me what all the penalties are. Everything can move front or back 1. So you can move in your front facing. If you want to pivot a facing, it costs you a movement point as well. There's no penalty for going up in levels, but if I go through heavy, it costs me 2 extra movement points to go through, and light, it costs me 1. All the terrain I put down here is purely cosmetic. It's just to make the game look a little more 3D. I'll pull it off if I move into it. This site can be blocked, obviously, by the hills themselves. On one side to the other, I can't see, and also by terrain. If there's more than 3 points, with light counting as 1 and heavy counting as 2 of trees and stuff in the way, then I am unable to draw a line of fire from one mech to another. We're just going to get on the train here. He's going to go 1 turn, and then 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And he's going to sit here on the hill, hopefully able to see across all this level 1 stuff. Walking movement, he gets a little 1 die next to him, so we can track the fact that he's +1 to hit and also +1 to be shot at. Mr. Griffin's going to do much the same thing. He wants to be able to see, but he's going to try and grab some cover as well. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going to make him slightly harder to shoot, but also shooting at, so he'll be a little bit more difficult to attack. Also used walking movement, so we'll place that 1 next to him. Well, that's having maneuvered. Now we go into the attack phase. Now we shoot with all of our weapons, and some weapons actually track how many shots you get with them. So for instance, his medium lasers and energy weapon, it doesn't cause any kind of like ammo expenditure, but it could cause heat, because I think it drains his reactor, it causes the reactor to heat up. That's in the full game though. I can't remember if lasers do that or not. I know there's a penalty for doing them. He has a short range missile launcher with a cluster of 6, which means it does cluster damage. And it has a grand total of 15 shots when he's shooting it. He has an autocannon 5, which has 20 shots. And then there's a bunch of different rules here for the actual weapon. That's the distance in hex it can fire, and the penalty for firing at that distance. How much damage it does. So his short-range missile launcher does 2 damage per missile that lands, and then location, so where it's actually mounted. So the medium laser is mounted on the head. So if the head's destroyed, well, the battle mech's dead anyway, so it doesn't matter. And then the SRM, the short-range missile launcher, is on the left torso. So if the left torso goes down, it's destroyed. And then right arm for the AC-5. So if one of these locations is gone, the weapon's gone with it. Lost the roll, he's got to fire first. So Mr. Griffin's got a long-range missile launcher and a PPC. So the PPC doesn't track ammo, but the missile launcher does. Now you get to fire with all your weapons every turn, and you fire them one at a time. So we'll start off, and we have to determine the Gator to hit. Gator is the acronym now that we're going to use for attacking, and it's Gunnery Skill, Attacker Modifier, Target Modifier, Other Modifiers, and Range Modifiers. And we add them all together. So first, Gunnery Skill, all the mechs are considered to be Gunnery Skill 4, unless they have a pilot card, which actually you do get some pilot cards in here for cool pilots you want to use, as well as the cards for Alpha Strike for the fast play version of the game. So that's our base roll to hit on 2d6. So it starts at 4, 5 because I moved, 6 because he moved, 7 because there's a piece of light terrain in between the two of us. Count hexes as close as we can. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hexes. So his LRM is going to be in outside of 7, inside of 14. So it's going to be a medium range, so +2 again. Like I said, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the piece of terrain in the way, and then 8, 9 for medium range. So you got to roll a 9+ to hit him with that LRM. He misses. There's a shot, so we'll just put a shot die next to it and keep track of how many he's fired. And then the PPC fires. We know it's 11, so exact same roll to hit because he's in medium range. So a 9+ to hit with the PPC now. He hits, blam, with a 10. All right, so once we're hit, we have to see where he's hit. Every mech has a location table. He gets hit in the 7, which is the center torso. Ugh, so if the center torso or the head are destroyed in an end phase, he's gone. And the PPC does 10 damage. Oh no. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, that's terrible. That's all his guns though. So now Mr. Griffin gets to fire back. He's got 3 weapons. He's got, unfortunately, 2 that we know are out of range because it's 11 hexes away. So his short range missile launcher and his medium laser are out of range, but his autocannon is not. And it does 5. So it's inside 11, right? And it'll be the same modifiers. He's shooting through 1 piece of terrain. He's 4, 5 for his movement, 6 for the piece of terrain, 7, and then 8, 9 for range. So a 9 to hit with the autocannon. Misses. 1 shot on the autocannon. We'll track that 1 shot. He has 20 shots with it. And then we move into a new turn because that's the end. So the weapon phase is over. We apply all the damage now. If any effects happen, like someone's destroyed, they're destroyed. And then we go to a new round. Sorry, his shot was even a worse to hit number because he moved 5 hexes. He was actually +2 to hit because it's how far you move during the turn is actually the target movement modifier. These dice are just tracking your attack modifier. So it's a new round. Rolling for initiative. 10 is pretty good for the Taurian Concordat, and then 3 is not so good. I guess that chest hit kind of messed him up. All right, well, he'll have to move first. He's not excited about his chest being hit, but he wants to get his weapons in range. So I think he's going to just do another movement. It's going to cost 2 to go through here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bring him into range, hopefully, of his remaining weapons with walking movement. He's also pretty happy, I think, with where he's at, but we've won the initiative here, so it means the Griffin can actually maneuver to get back out at 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, it's going to be hard to do that, actually, and still be able to see. We're going to brawl till we fall, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with walking movement. And they're just dueling. So the Griffin gets to fire, or sorry, the Wolverine has to fire first because he lost the initiative roll in the attack phase. But he's got lots of guns in range now. So it's going to be once again, I think it's actually pretty close now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hexes. So everything's in good range almost, except for the medium laser and the SRM don't get into really good range until they're within 3. So we're looking at 4 base, 5 for his movement. The medium laser is in medium range, so that's going to be 6, 7, and then he moved 5 hexes, so 8, 9. So the medium laser hitting on a 9. Misses. His arm will be exactly the same if he lands it. Nope, Snake Eyes totally misses. It's just the autocannon. Can he land it? No, he misses as well. So he was in short range, actually, so he needed a 7. That still misses. He's not doing well. All right, well, Concordat guy's starting to blast again, so he's start with his LRM. It's going to take a second shot, And he's inside of 7, we know, so he's at 0 mod for that. So it's going to be 4, 5 because he moved, 6, and he didn't move 5 whole steps, so he only moved under 3 to 4. Actually, I don't think he only moved 2. So he's at +1, I think. He moved 2, +0 actually. And he only moved 2 hexes. So he started here and moved to here. So he's at +0. So he's kind of dialed in right now. And that means he'll be 4, 5 for his movement modifier, and then 0 for that guy's movement modifier, and then he's in short range, so 0 again. So it's gonna be a 5+ with a laser, or I'm sorry, 5+. Misses somehow though, and the PVC also in short range, so it'll be 5+ as well. Lands. Where does it land? If it lands in his center mass again, I think he's dead. 5. 5 is gonna be the right leg. Sorry. So the right leg takes 10 damage. Ugh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, if you over damage something, you'll see the damage transfers where the arrow points. In this case, we haven't taken enough to have it blown off yet, though. Well, it's new turn again, so the movement dice come off. Nobody's been destroyed. Let's see who gets initiative. Touring Concordat gets an 8 and a 6 for the Great Death Legionnaire. So he'll have to move first again. He really wants to get moving, though. So he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, and just broadside him. Backing up then, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and get out of his arc? Yeah, get out of his arc. Oh, sneaky. It didn't pay off for this guy at all. He's trying to get up close, but he can't. So only he's going to get to fire, because the Wolverine, unfortunately, is not going to be in range. His line of sight's going to go this way. His will go up to here, so he'll be in it. So the LRM again. He's moved a full 5 this time, though. So 4 plus 1 for moving is 5. Target's going to be a +2 because he moved 5 hexes this turn. Or 4 hexes, actually. But so +1, actually, so 6. But then short range, so just 6. LRM 10, does it land on a 6? It does. All right, so now once you land with the LRM, you do the cluster hit table. So you roll to see where it lands. 7, which is going to be the torso. Oh, wait, no, center torso again. Uh-oh. And then how many of these missiles actually land? So it's an LRM 10. So we look down this column, and we roll to see how many hit. 9. So on a 9, 8 missiles at 1 damage each. He takes 8 more to the center torso, and I think that kills him. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, he's got 2 left. He's holding it together. Still the PPC. So does it hit? It's in short range again. 8 will hit because it needed a 6. And where does it land? A 5. Lands in the right leg again. So 10 damage to the right leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then it transfers. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can no longer move or turn because one of his legs is blown off. Now there is some hopping stuff that you could do, and actually you have to make a piloting test, I'm pretty sure, to not get knocked over right now in the full game. For the purpose of Alpha Strike, if your leg's destroyed, you just don't go anywhere. He's stuck. And that basically wins the game for the Touring Concordat player because he can't bring his weapons to bear. And next turn he just sits there and sits still and hits on no modifier. Actually, I think he's actually better to hit if he doesn't move. No, stationary is just no modifier. So it's going to be 4, 0 for range. He can't move, which means target is stationary. No modifier either. So just on a 4. Missiles land. Where do they land? 11 is going to be the left arm. Oh man, how many land? 7 on the left arm. 6 damage. Damage 1 per. So 6 damage to the left arm, and he's just going to keep shooting until it beats him up, basically. The next one hits on a 10, which is the left arm again. Oh my god. 8 to the left arm. So his left arm is, I'm pretty sure, blown off now. 16 damage to the left arm. Yeah, it's gone. And that's going to bleed into the right side of the torso. Just keep going basically until he's destroyed because he can't move anywhere and he can't see anything because we're out of line of sight. So that means, like, in the full game, he'd be able to torso twist at least to see, even though he probably couldn't move. He'll just keep firing. 6 will hit. He just needs to hit him in the 7. He needs to hit him in the center torso again. Well, left torso will probably not even do anything. How many missiles hit? 6, another 6 damage. It just keeps going until you kill him. Hits again. Roll a 7. Why can't you roll a 7? Just roll a 7. That's not a 7. Not a 7. There we go, 7. Hits him in the center torso, and that'll kill him. So basically, as soon as he rolled another 7 to hit, and his center torso blew up, he was done, son. either ran out of ammunition or blew both his legs off and blew his arms off until his body actually exploded. And so there it is. That's the core mechanics for Battletech. Now, the suggestion here is, if you want to play with more forces, you can use all of these cardboard cutouts, and these are 2 little lances to play with. So you could use 2 Wolverines, a Locust, and a Thunderbolt against a Griffin, a Wolverine, a Locust, and a Thunderbolt, and that'd be relatively balanced. And then the miniatures, you can either get more or play with these ones plus the standees. Sure, these actually wipe off quite nicely. If you look, the dry erase comes right off. So I'm in love with these readouts. I think these are super handy. I wish these were available for every battle mech in the game, because 1, they're nice and compact. They don't take up a ton of space on the table, and 2, you don't have to print a whole bunch and use pencils. You can just wipe them right off. The dice are nice. The miniatures are obviously great. I love the plastic models. I've painted a ton of these now since Christmas. And there is a certain charm to playing on the hex map, because there's no measuring. You have to worry about any of the finesse of, that trigonometry that creeps into games sometimes. And while the rules themselves, tracking all of the things like your hit locations and the ammunition and stuff like that, are crunchy, and they get crunchier obviously when you're playing with 4 mechs aside, which is a lance size game. There's a certain speed and elegance to using the hexes, taking the emphasis onto off of precise maneuvering and measuring and stuff like that, and putting it over here in the sort of the piloting side of managing your battle mechs while they're in combat.
So there you go, look at the Battletech Beginner box, a great kitchen table size game, available, I'm pretty sure, in local booksellers almost all over the place. They've got great distribution. Catalyst Games Labs does, and I've seen it on the shelf at Barnes & Noble. So if you got 20 bucks and you're in the US, or 25 bucks, whatever, in Canada, and you want to check out a cool Mech Combat game that is ready to play right out of the box, you can just put these standees up and go. If you've got some dice, a dry erase marker, and this box set, you're ready to rock and roll right in the kitchen table. And it's a super fun, campy space opera universe. The models are great, and there's lots to sink your teeth into. So if you just wanted to give it a kick and see what you thought, I'd say the Beginner box is a great way of doing it, and I'll be back for a part 2 Let's Play for Battletech, Classic Battletech, with some lance-on-lance action using the full Game of Armored Combat box. So big thanks for watching. We'll see you for more Battletech in the future. Till then, I'm Ash. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to support the channel, of course, like and subscribe and hit the little bell below to get notifications when I post future content. I do post stuff 7 days a week. If you want to support the channel further, you can, of course, buy a t-shirt through Spreadshirts, buy a measuring gauge or objective markers from Death Ray Designs, or, of course, most importantly, there is Patreon. Patreon is what makes all this possible, keeps the lights on, pays for the studio costs, pays for the equipment, model costs, and everything else, and most importantly, puts food in my kids' bellies and a roof over their heads. Big thanks to everyone, past, future, who supported me. I do this stuff because of you guys, and of course, I will continue doing it as long as I can.